What's up, everybody? Welcome to Money Moves. I'm Michael Munsterman. I'm going to share with you today a little bit of history about me, why I'm doing the podcast, what's important to me, and hopefully just get a foundation so you kind of know what to expect in the coming episodes.
Grind, that's all I know. Find the time to quit, oh no. No matter good or bad, still I go. I never crack under pressure, I can't be broke. Sun up to the sun down. Map it out, now run it down. Mayweather, I never lose. I be making these money moves. Sun up to the sun down. Map it out, now run it down. Mayweather, I never lose. I be making these money moves.
So, in a world where we're inundated with podcasts, we're inundated with social media influencers and all this other, like tons and tons of content providers out there. It seems like the day of the cable box is dead, right? Like very few people are plugged into cable anymore. I've got Phil in the studio here with me. Phil, do you have cable at your house right now?
I do, but
okay. So Phil does. He just said he does. If you
we don't watch it.
But he doesn't. He's the last guy in the entire city to subscribe to cable, right there. But hey, like my point is like as that dies, more and more people want to get their message out, get their voice out, and they want to be heard. And frankly, like I've been in business now for a little over a decade, building different companies. In the last 10 or 12 years, I'm personally responsible for over $250 million in sales. Now that's global sales. We've imported millions and millions of dollars of products from across the pond and distribute them all over the US and Canada. I've employed just under 1,000 people in my tenure, and really just I've experienced small cap companies, mid cap companies, and even like largest company that we've ever done topped out at just under $50 million a year in sales. And I'm watching as coaches, gurus, experts in business are coming into the marketplace and they're speaking into people's lives. And I'm just like, look, you guys don't strike me as seasoned, savvy entrepreneurs. And I talk to people all the time who claim to be like really intelligent business owners and operators. And inevitably at the end of the conversation, I think, wow, you're successful in business in spite of yourself. I watched some of the marketing, some of the videos that different guys are doing, and I'm just listening. I've had my ear to the ground the last few years especially, and I'm super, super disappointed. And so inside of my inner circle, I'm talking to my peer group, guys that I respect in business about this. And I'm talking about the different things and we're sharing and this, a couple things like came to the surface in these conversations. The first is that as entrepreneurs, we feel alone. Like we genuinely feel like we're the only guys in the world or girls that deal with the things we deal with, the insecurities that we deal with, the pressures that we deal with, the stresses that we deal with. And it's sad because like we get in this place where we start running these stories of I'm by myself. And then you look and there's these flashpoint lifestyle influencers out there who are like, check out my Lambo that I just bought, rented, whatever. And they're putting themselves out there like their life is just off the charts. But the fact is that being an entrepreneur is rarely sexy. Like sometimes it's sexy, but normally it's not that sexy. And so like the thing number one that came from our conversations was, hey, we're not alone. And probably there are a lot of people out there who either want to become entrepreneurs. And so just for the sake, as we roll forward into this podcast, like you'll hear me refer to them as wantrepreneurs. It's not a dig. I'm not trying to talk down to people. Like at the end of the day, you've got a voice inside of you that says, hey, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be rich. I want to make impact. I want to make change. When I say rich, maybe your rich isn't money. Maybe your rich is impact. Maybe you want to, build homeless shelters. Maybe you want to build shelters for children. Maybe you want to build schools in third world countries. Whatever point of impact that you're thinking, hey, this is what I want to do, but you haven't taken any steps yet, I'm calling you a entrepreneur. And for me, entrepreneurs, like we're a different breed. It's a different animal that I'm talking to here. Like you'll hear me call us lions often because so many times we step out and realize we truly are alphas in the marketplace. Like we're wired to hunt. we're carnivores when it comes to taking a bite out of what we believe we're owed from the marketplace. I don't wake up every day and think, well, I'm going to go out and hope that I make some money today, or I hope I start a company that's going to be successful. I just go do it. And that's what I want to see for anybody, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a wantrepreneur, or whether you're an intrapreneur. Maybe inside of somebody else's business, you're crushing it. And that intrapreneur status is all on you. And you're somebody that can glean a lot from what I'm going to be sharing too. Because ultimately, there's a few principles that drastically impact your success. And so as we're sitting here talking, and I'm talking, and I don't even want to say I'm complaining. I think more I'm poking fun at the guys who are pretending to be seasoned entrepreneurs. And one week I'll see a ClickFunnels and they'll be experts in Forex. And then the next week they're pimping like this free ebook that the 12 mistakes entrepreneurs make. And if I open that up and number one isn't pretend to be an expert in Forex, like I would be pretty disappointed. But like I just see these guys, they get out there and they like I'm thinking of one guy in specifically right now. He gets out there and he's talking about like literally he's been an expert in Forex. I've seen him as an expert in Bitcoin. Now he's an expert in that. And like, it's true. You can do a little bit of research and be in the top 3% of any field you want, but you're positioning yourself out there as a business expert. Like let's pull out resumes. And so as I'm poking fun at this, the guys in my inner circle are like, look, with the chops you have, not just business chops, but the fact that, as you can probably tell, I'm very comfortable with the sound of my own voice. And so I believe that if I had to say, hey, I'm putting on my cape and here's my superpower would be my ability to communicate and not just be in the now inside of communication, but forecasting in multiple different directions that you might try to steer the conversation, ultimately keeping my end game in mind. Like that's my superpower. And so my ability to communicate and think through, okay, here's where I want to go in this conversation. Here's what I want to share with you, and here's why. And so they're saying to me, with the chops that you have, you're being pretty selfish, not taking it to the marketplace. And so I've been putting little challenges in front of myself, and I've shot some videos, really short content stuff, and pushed it out, and got feedback from people inside of my own Facebook circle, and then went to my peer group, then went to my mentors, and really said, okay, hey, look, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that I've been selfish inside of my business career. I've built big companies. I've built some small companies, but all of it's been in pursuit of wealth and scale. And I've never really stepped into the marketplace thinking, okay, I don't have any expectation of a return. I just want to give back to the marketplace. And so inside of these conversations, I was encouraged from nearly every single person I spoke to. Yeah, definitely. Like if you had a podcast or you had a show, like we would definitely want to listen to it because your results speak for yourselves. Like you $250 million in sales, you don't accidentally do that by the time you're 38 years old. I'm 38. So that's and again, that's all happened in the last 10 years. When I was 25 years old, I was $300,000 in debt, thinking I have absolutely no idea which way I'm going to take this. But I had ran a bunch of little small companies and done a bunch of little things, and I was just sick of playing it safe. And I decided, okay, look, I've been reading Get Rich Quick books since I was 18 years old. Now I'm actually going to apply and see if any of these principles are real and true. Some of them were total bullshit, and some of them were really true. And so that's what I'm going to separate here. Like I'm going to take all this crap that the marketplace is throwing at you. One, I'm going to teach you a little bit about me as we go along, but also I'm going to share with you what I found that truly, genuinely works, what's going to impact your bottom line the quickest. And ideally, if you'll listen to me and you'll follow the steps that I give you, like I'll give you a pretty clear path on how to get your mind right. And then I'll teach you how to communicate appropriately to go into the marketplace. And whenever I say communicate clearly, like communication with a purpose, communication with a goal, I want you to be able to step into yourself, find that talent that you have, and add as much value to the marketplace as you possibly can. because I believe that wealth is just an exchange for value in the marketplace. The more value you give the market, the more money you'll make organically. You can't help but do that. Ultimately the goal. And just as we head into the first few episodes, I want to just like set this up for you. I think it's super important that if you're going to listen to somebody, you have a really clear idea of where they came from. So the first 2 episodes after this one, I think you're going to feel are pretty dark. And when I say dark, like number 1 is just about me and where it all starts for me. I've got 2 really, really strong influences in my life. One of them was my grandfather and one of them was my father-in-law. Both extremely entrepreneurial minded, but I had an event happen to me when I was a young child that set the course and removed an element that everybody's going to have to remove if you're going to scale and build big shit. Like you just got to get rid of it. And so that's episode 1. And I've got to take you down a pretty sad little journey for you to get it. And then from episode 2, we start to build foundationally. Okay, here's the number 1 thing you've got to get right in your mind. And I use story a lot of time. Like a lot of my podcasts, probably 50% of my podcasts will be me taking you into a story. I want to paint a picture in your mind so that you're not just sitting here listening to the musings of some bored, washed up, or like not everybody is, right. There's some really powerful people out there, but I want it to mean something to you. I want you to be able to visualize it because I want that story to stick in your head. I want it to be leverageable and actionable. I want your success to be like lots of bubbles here, palpable and trackable. So I want you to be able to taste success. I want you to be able to get a vision of, okay, here's what I need to do. And then as we go, like I'm going to start bringing in some guests. A lot of these people are going to be people that are in my life. I know that a lot of guys with podcasts, right? They really try to connect out to people that have other successful podcasts. And I'm sure at some point we'll do some of that. But initially, like I'm going to pull people in that genuinely have something that I think is a gift that can be shared. And we're going to talk about all areas of life. We're going to talk about communication with our family. We're going to talk about communication with our kids. We're going to talk about communication in business. We're going to talk about sales and how to take a customer from where they start, from a cold conversation to the destination that delivers value to them, but also causes you to succeed in that process. Then we're going to talk about like just fundamentally, and this is where we'll start, fundamentally getting your mind right so that you can step out into the marketplace and win. Like you can have all the value in the world and like you can have the very best gift for the world, have it inside of you and have that calling of, hey, like you have to take this to the marketplace. The world needs what you're offering. The world needs this, like, and you have this drive inside. But if you don't adapt just a few really simple, not easy, simple habits in the way you think, in the way you speak, in the way you communicate, in the way you lead, if you can't adapt and change, or at least solidify, if you've got the beginning musings of the person that you need to be, like you need to realize the habits you need to shed and also the habits you need to hold tight and firm to and make your core. Like this is the foundation for who I need to be to get where I want to go. And ultimately, that's what Money Moves is all about. Money Moves, yeah, it's Money Moves. I want the name of the podcast to get everybody's attention, but really emphasis here on moves. You can replace money with whatever you want. At the end of the day, it's just about you getting the most value from this so that you can go out and crush every single day. That's what I want to help you do. So, a little bit of a selfless shout out here. I want you to, you made it this far. Cool. I appreciate that. Listen to this episode. And then as you work through the other episodes, see if I, am leading you the right way here. DM me if you've got any questions. Instagram, it's at Michael Munsterman. Go follow me there and check out the website. It's www.michaelmunsterman.com. Now, from the website, you're going to see that recently I've began writing a book, and so you can get first in line there. The people who are first in line on the book are going to get a lot of extra free cool stuff and opportunities. You're going to get a discount on the book whenever it's available. But first and foremost, you can get the first few chapters, and I think you'll see that there's a lot of similarities in the first few chapters and the first few episodes of the podcast, but they're not the same. You want to get your name in that hat so that I can communicate with you. But definitely follow me on Instagram and check out the website. Easy peasy. Going ahead, if you would and you haven't already, if you're on YouTube, subscribe below. If you caught us on iTunes or any one of our other podcast channels, go on ahead and subscribe here, because I promise you, if you'll give me the next 12 months, you'll just strap in for the ride. I'm going to teach you a lot of shit that no one else is teaching. If you're a young kid and you're 17, 18 years old and you're trying to think, okay, should I go to college? Should I not go to college? I'm not the guy to speak into that. I can just tell you I didn't, and it doesn't dictate you. But if you're not going to go to school and you want to, like you've ran to the edge of the cliff, and at any age, you've ran to the edge of the cliff and you're looking over and thinking, hey, I want to be in business for myself and I really don't know what to do next. You're exactly where you need to be, because my goal is not to sing some song about, hey, take it slow, you've got all the time in the world. My goal is, look, you're on the edge of the cliff, look up. People are soaring by right now. And if you want to fly, you're going to have to jump. And I want to help you do that. So stick around. Can't wait to connect with you as we go down this little journey together. Appreciate you so much for coming and checking out this first episode. Again, the next two get really, really serious, but stick with, because we're going to have a lot of fun. At the end of any lesson my grandpa would give me, he would say this one thing, right? He would say, savvy lad. So you'll hear me in a lot of episodes I'll hit you with. Like, he would always ask me, like, do you get what I'm saying? So, savvy.
Money moves, money moves, money moves.